Crea-ture Studios just released their first monthly developer blog post, and it's filled with some good news and some disappointing news. I'm going to start with the disappointing news because I want to rip the band-aid off quickly. There's a few features in session that are going to be cut from being included in the full 1.0 version in the fall. So the post reads, the following features have been cut from version 1.0 for quality reasons. However, they are on the list for our possible post-launch production plans. The first one is foot navigation improvements have been cut. This does not mean that the on-foot navigation itself has been cut, it just means some of the improvements are being cut. One of the members of Crea-ture Studios, Donovan Strain, has confirmed on-foot navigation improvements are cut, not on-foot navigation as a whole. There were some fixes. Remember, you're playing an older version of what we are building, there are lots changed currently, but the additional improvements will be cut. So they have made some improvements to what we have now, but any further improvements are going to be cut from 1.0. The next feature that's going to be cut is party games, and that includes Game of Skate, Skate Dice, Spot Challenge, and Local Filmer Mode. Donovan said, party games are too buggy and inconsistent to release, and we do not have the time and manpower to focus on them when we know that they are rarely played due to internal data, so it's not worth spending our time on currently. Which is actually true, because not many people are playing the party games since they're not online. So you actually have to have somebody in the room with you to be able to play a game of Skate in session. Like, when was the last time that you went over to a friend's house to play a video game? It just doesn't happen anymore. You can use something like Steam Remote Play to kind of make it online, like invite your Steam friends to play the game, like from wherever they are. Or you can use something like Parsec. It's a little bit more dangerous though if you don't set it up properly. Legacy controls, you know, the EA Skate controls, those are going to be cut, which is actually something that I kind of saw coming, because originally those controls weren't even supposed to be in the game. The devs never really wanted to have it in the game, but I guess they were feeling generous one day and decided to add the skate controls, even though they've said that they're never going to add it into the game, because it only took the lead programmer like half a day to put that in. Donovan states that legacy controls are cut because those are too buggy and do not help you play the majority of the game. They're fun to goof around on for some people, but they're extremely outdated and can't use our time and manpower. So to anybody that's using the legacy controls, you may want to start learning the actual session controls, because it seems like this version of the game 0.0.0.72 is the last time you're going to be playing with the legacy controls. The last feature to be cut from version 1.0 and the most unfortunate feature to be cut from 1.0 is grabs and vert. To make things clear, that does not mean that lip tricks and transition stuff will be cut. So like pumping through the ramps, you know, doing like a back disaster, or like, you know, slashes on the coping, those aren't going to be cut. Like, we're still going to be able to do lip tricks. So to finish up what Donovan said in this statement, grabs and vert are cut, not transition and lip tricks, to be clear. Grabs and vert like 900s and McTwists would take up too much time, money, and manpower and leave us in early access for too many years. So we are focusing on what we can deliver, smooth, polished, and ready for our power launch content going forward with the future of the game and studio. Hope that clears up the 4 things listed cut. Now, it is confirmed that Crea-ture does plan on adding more content to session after version 1.0. Crea-ture says, full release is full release of a smooth playing game. We will have post-release content planned out. Full release is just the launch pad for a game that plays properly. So just because some of these things are cut or some features aren't in the game at 1.0 does not mean that it's going to be out of the game completely. Like, they could add it later on. So party games, grabs, vert, and on-foot navigation, I don't see those being like completely cut. As for legacy controls though, I can kind of see that never coming back, but we'll have to wait and see. If these cuts mean that we get a much more fluid gameplay, I'm all for it. Unfortunately, I'm not done with the disappointing news. The anticipated update that was set to release in June has been canceled. So we won't be getting a public update this June, nor will we be getting an update before version 1.0 in the fall. So in the blog post, Crea-ture states, along with the shift from early access to version 1 launch and the team's structural changes, we have made the necessary call to cut the upcoming third and final public update this coming June. As skaters and gamers, we know what's expected and we hold ourselves to a high level of quality. The current improvements in the game show great promise. but we need to further improve the quality and cement the best skating experience for version 1 in the fall is our priority. We hear the quality concerns, we see the bugs, and we feel for all you folks on unreleased platforms. That means you people on PlayStation. So we ask that you hold out for a few more months as we put all of our energy into version 1 and beyond. We will continue to share progress over our social channels as well as monthly dev blogs. Now, the reason why they're not releasing an update for June is because it takes a lot of time to kind of prepare a version for the public. So right now in the version that they have like everything in the game, like new maps, new features, new skaters, a lot of stuff that they either want to keep hidden until version 1.0 or that is not completely ready yet. So pretty much what they would have to do is like take the full version that they have right now and then squash it down to be able to release to the public, which can be very time consuming because they got to go into the code, they got to hide things, they got to change things. If one future feature is taken out, it could affect a past feature, and they got to do all the testing for that at the same time as trying to work on the future of the game. So it does kind of make sense that since the full release is going to be soon, that they're just going to have their heads down and just work right through it. It sucks for us right now, but hopefully that means that version 1.0 is going to be better. Which now leads me into some of the good news of this post. The official release date for session version 1.0 has been announced, September 22nd, 2022. So in late September, everybody on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation will be playing the full version 1.0 for session. So while it does suck that we don't get any updates between now and full release isn't that far away. It's only a couple months away. Also in this blog post, Crea-ture Studios has mentioned a couple of updates that they've made to the game since the last public update. Achievements are loaded and ready to go. So if you've noticed on Steam, you can see that there's 48 new achievements that you can get for session. They're all hidden right now. The devs say that the hardcore players are going to have fun trying to get these, which I'm really excited about. Ragdoll slams have been integrated. So a few days ago, they actually shared a video showing what the first pass of the new bales look like. It's still ragdoll bales, but it's going to have human limitations. So it's like they put bones in the skater instead of having them be like a pool noodle. They've done some physical animation reworks. They've added a third and final city to version 1.0, and it's fully playable. We have no idea what city that's going to be, so maybe Barcelona. There's so many iconic cities for skateboarding, so everything's pretty much on the table. Transit system has been reworked with updated bus routes and stations. Power slides fully transition through stances and allow players to transfer weight. On their social media, they've also showed video of the new power slides, which I'm actually really excited about because like we can now power slide to fakie, we can blunt power slide, and I asked them to confirm if the new power slides allow you to revert after landing instead of double tapping the trigger, like being able to land and like kind of like power slide it, pretty much giving full control of the revert. And Donovan tested it and confirmed that it's possible, which I'm really hyped about because I don't like doing double tap the trigger to revert. It doesn't feel like I'm actually controlling the skateboard. They've done a user interface overhaul for art and layout. All skaters are in 3D production, and big news to come on the community side, so I guess we're getting some news on some more skaters. As of today, we've only announced 66% of the roster. I think that means there's going to be a total of 16 or 17 skaters in the game because we already know 11 of them. We know about Louis Barletta. We also know about Jameer Brown being added. And in the game right now, we have Daewon Sung, Donovan Strain, Dane Berman, Billy Marks, me, Mark Appleyard, Manny Santiago, Anti-Ferg, and Ribsman. The full skater journey has been integrated and is in debug, and translation has kicked off. So these are all the languages that they've added to the game so far. So those are just a couple of updates that they've made in the game that they're gonna tell us. They're not gonna tell us everything that they've done. They've also mentioned some of the bugs that have been fixed. So with the addition of bail rules, it cuts a lot of the onboard shenanigans. Addition of a safe zone check when pressing Y to get on the board to avoid buggy onboard situations. Cleaned mission flow. Fixed physical animation noodle arm on session marker use, so you know that moment when you respawn and you turn into the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Yeah, they fixed that. They made some performance improvements. Controller disconnect bug, that's something that a lot of Xbox players are encountering when their controller dies or gets disconnected. Another Xbox issue right here, skate shop items locked when completing story missions. It's not in this blog post, but it has been confirmed that desync is finally working as intended. So what that is the synchronization between the flips and the scoops. Right now in the game, they're synchronized, so we can't really like control like the speed of a 3 flip. In the version that we have right now, we can turn off the sync so that like we can get like double flip trays or slower hard flips and slower tray flips, but it doesn't work as intended in the version that we have. There's no footage of it yet, but Donovan keeps teasing us how well it works. I think version 1.0 can still be really good even with these cuts, as long as the core skating and the physics feel right. It can still be good without vert and grabs. It can definitely be good without legacy controls. Party games aren't being used, and it probably won't be until there's actually online. And we already have foot navigation, it's just the improvements that are being cut. If we have a lot of control over our flips and our style and everything like that, I think it's still gonna be great. But only time will tell, so we'll have to wait and see. I think that's pretty much it for the important news of this blog post, and I want to thank Jeffrey Spicer, the producer at Crea-ture Studios, for writing this blog post and keeping us up to date on what's going on. I know there's gonna be a lot of disappointment in the comments, but there's also gonna be a lot of excitement in the comments. But let me know how you feel about this whole situation of things being cut and the release date and all that stuff. With that being said, that is gonna do it for this video. Hit the subscribe button if you want, the like button, all that stuff, and catch you next time.